New Jersey has the highest property taxes in the United States of America. New Jersey also has the highest debt per capita in the United States of America. So clearly, finances are not doing well here in New Jersey. With that in mind, I have been, well, not only have I been involved here, but my running mates, Don Nazar and Steve Usio, and I, we're all running for state legislature. We've all been very assertive with our mayor, Janice Mironov, the mayor of East Windsor, Janice Mironov, in regard to property taxes. Now, I want to share with you a correspondence that has begun between the mayor of East Windsor and I. And so, on July 21st, I emailed her the following. Dear Madame Mayor, first of all, I hope all is well. And again, I thank you for sharing your opinions with my running mates and I during the last town council meeting. I have been analyzing your essay on property tax reform and have a few questions, specifically about your view on education in relation to taxes. You imply in this essay that the state should pay for education, as opposed to school districts, which would mean that either the state would have to issue more bonds and or increase sales and or income taxes. My first question is, does this not further imply a firm advocacy of not only Common Core, which is the state's mandated curriculum, which is actually furthermore federally mandated, but also a universal education standard, not only in New Jersey, but in America? Essentially the same thing, but I just wanted to make that clear. I ask this because while it could seem rational at first, it would, if we look closer, merely socialize education in America, which would mean districts would not have the right to compete for the best education standards, which would mean that education would have to become mediocre. I say it would have to become mediocre because there would be less choice and experimentation available to the public. Now, to be fair, I do recognize the tragedy of poor school districts. But just like socialism and or communism is no cure to the problem of poverty, I don't think socialized education is the solution to poor education. I also realize that nearly socializing education does not mean abolishing private education. But again, if school districts, and perhaps in the long term counties, can compete, that would, again, not only give parents more voice, but also give the public more evidence as to what is good and what is not good for their children's education. I furthermore realize the tragedy of education for impoverished districts is not one that is resolved just because a freer market exists. But I think this also raises an even bigger problem, which is that of poverty itself. I think that poverty might always exist, and that better and poorer education might always exist. In any event, I was merely writing to you this early morning to get a clarification on your views on this issue so that I might better understand your views on taxation, education, and government. I hope you have a great weekend. Sincerely, Sean O'Connor. Now I want to share with you the response I got from my mayor. This is the response. This was she sent this to me on July 23rd, so 2 days later. Hi, Sean, Mayor Mironov writes. First, let me ask you, she writes, in East Windsor Township and most towns, school district is 60 to 65% of property tax bill, and then here county portions are another 20% of the bill. In light of the sources of most of the property tax bill, what is your plan regarding education funding? And I respect that you recognize the complexities here and also how important education is. That's all she had to say in response to all that I had to say. So I just want to note that while I do appreciate the fact that the mayor responded to me and responded with facts and interest in the issue, she didn't answer any of my questions or respond to any of my points. Anyway, I decided tonight to respond to her response. And here's what my latest response consists of for your consideration, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote the following. Dear Madame Mayor, thank you very much for responding to my email. I do understand that most of the property tax bill comes from education funding and appreciate that you respect my awareness of the complexities and importance of education in America. When it comes to the future of education spending, I would like to preface by quoting Abraham Lincoln. Quote, if we could first know where we are and whither we are tending, we could better judge what to do and how to do it. Close quote. So, where are we in terms of education and education funding? At present, so far as I am informed, the state of New Jersey actually has no report on any cost analysis of the future of education, which means our first problem is that New Jersey is set for a decade of increased spending in education without any official projection of precisely how much that spending will be. At the very least, I want to emphasize that, at the very least, taxpayers are being left in the dark, which isn't fair. How do we go about assessing what those costs might amount to in the next decade? Well, we first have to we first have to point out that we have adopted a very radical and at times opaque and federally controlled curriculum. I know you are extremely busy, so I don't know how much time you may have had to research Common Core, which is the system, the program, the federal education program, essentially. But it imposes a lot of unfunded mandates on local school districts, such as new standardized tests and computers for an estimated 1 for every 4 students to take those new online tests, standardized online tests, which, by the way, grade essays with artificial intelligence. Because Common Core is a federal program, despite the fact that it is unconstitutional and contradicts 3 other federal laws, at least, it invites only private schools to compete with them, and private schools are expensive, which means the majority of Americans will really be offered only one slate of standards, which is not only bad in the fact that it is controlled, but also because it takes options and competition and display better possibilities away from the public eye. Returning now to your question, what is my plan? 1. Freeze the tax rate and the spending. 2. Abolish Common Core. 3. Let the school districts run their schools so that there is competition and choice. 4. Establish a voucher program to promote choice for the poor. 5. Promote curriculum standards that teach students how to be independent and generous. Do you support